Hey you beautiful people, welcome back. So within this video, within this episode, we are going to be exploring some of the beautiful questions that have come in the last week, last weeks and the last month or so. Now at the top of that is a really lovely question that's come in from Bridgitte about the door cleanse. Now I've left this video up until this time because it is really relevant to what is ahead. So the door cleanse, I would have traditionally, historically if you like, would have performed the door cleanse on All Hallowed Eve, on Samhain, Halloween. And it's a very simple yet very dynamic ceremony, ritual, spell and piece of magic. I got asked, and I will leave a link into the deeper aspect of the door cleanse. I'm going to touch upon it on and in this video. Now, the question that come in was, how do you go about performing door cleanse if you live within an apartment block, if you live within a building that has shared access? Okay, that is such a brilliant, relevant and practical question. Now, so you've got an understanding of what the door cleanse is. If you haven't come across it, you haven't watched the previous video, is that the door cleanse, for me, as I say, I would have traditionally done it on All Hallowed Eve, and the intention of that is quite simply, it's if we understand the cycles of the moon and the phases of the moon, and that's something that I really work so strongly with, especially within the growing that I do. You know, so many of you that follow me on Instagram will really understand that, you know, all of our crop that we've had a real bounty and abundance of crop, all the crop that's like sown and then harvested is working within those moon cycles. We plant the seeds on a waxing moon cycle just before a full moon, and one of the wonderful guys that is working alongside me, kind of shadowing me, I'm kind of sharing all the wisdom and the knowledge that I've acquired over a lifetime and what's been gifted to me in that circle of giving, I'm sharing with him. And he recently sowed seed on September's full moon for his green manure, which is like clover and field beans and tansy and mustard, and what happens, it grows over the winter, and come early spring you cut it and dig it into the ground, and it feeds the soil, which in turn feeds the plants, which in turn feeds you. You know, it's kind of working in harmony with those cycles and seasons. So if you kind of understand that you've got a waxing moon cycle and you've got a waning moon cycle, well, the same is for the seasons. You know, if we look at spring being a waxing time, and we look at autumn being a waning time, you know, everything's falling away, and then as you get into All Hallowed Eve, you know, you're literally tipping, for us here in the UK, you're tipping into the darkest part of the year. So it's a time of stillness. It's what spirit, the innate, often say to me. It's like the void, but not in an empty way. It's not an empty void, but it's a time where we literally do kind of have the opportunity to take stock, and in doing so, it's a perfect time to kind of cleanse away the old, those things that are no longer serving you, and at the same time, within that void, you've got the stirrings and the beginnings of a birthing of a whole new cycle of time. So the door cleanse goes something like this. You literally kind of clean the inside of your door. I tend to brew up within a stainless steel bucket. I brew up some sea salt, some rosemary, some onions, some garlic, some lemon, some tea tree oil, and I kind of mix it and stir it and allow it to infuse for 10-15 minutes. And then I get a cotton heavy duty cloth, and then I would cleanse the inside of the door. I would cleanse the inside of the doorway. I would then cleanse the outside of the doorway, and I would then perform the magic. The magic for me is quite simply, I have a candle ready, and I quite simply, it goes something like this. Blow out the old, blow in the new, blow out the false, blow in the true. I am reinforcing my boundaries of light. This is my sacred right. By the powers of 3 times 3, this is my will, so may it be. Okay, and then I infuse with some tea tree oil or chili oil or lavender oil, but something that is very kind of cleansing, something that has some strength to it. I infuse the Algaz symbol on my door. And I then energetically sweep away from the front door. I then clean the threshold of the door as well, and then I may feel that I need to very gently perform the same intention and the same words, and then I will come in, leave the door open. I will, with my copper cauldron, place a candle, a white candle, and allow that white candle to kind of illuminate that passageway. So you kind of blow out the old, you blow in the new, you blow out the false, you blow in the true. You're reinforcing your boundary of light, because this is your sacred right. By the power of 3 times 3, this is your will, so may it be. Very simple but very potent magic, and I think that the most simplest forms of magic are the most potent. And I just kind of allow that to work, and then after a period of time I may close my door, and then I leave that candle in that cauldron to burn out. Normally I perform that either first thing in the morning very early, or into the evening as it gets dark. Now the question was from Bridgitte, what do you do if you have a shared entrance, if you are in a building that has a communal shared entrance, a communal front door, so to speak, to that building, and then you've got your kind of separate spaces within it. Now my instinctive answer to that is, and it's a beautiful question, is to perform it on your door. You know, perform it on your door, and if you can't kind of get outside and leave your door open and burn that cauldron, that candle within the cauldron without all and sundry walking past, it's kind of clean the front door, inscribe the oil, come in, shut your door, and then fire up your cauldron and your candle. And that will absolutely be okay. The important thing here is always the intention of what you're doing. You know, it's nice to be able to open up your front door and, you know, kind of, you know, really project that intention and that spell out into the world. But if you can't, then you kind of compromise and you work with what you can work with, remembering that intention is everything, because magic is powered by what is in here. You know, what comes from deep inside is what you kind of project with that intention and with that will, and that's what magic Well, that's why magic comes alive, which is why I often say you can find 1,000,001 spells out there, but make them your own. So you maybe use them as inspiration, use them to kind of inspire or fire up that inspiration, and then claim it to be yours, allow it to become your own. It's like the door cleanse. Some of that, is kind of a fusion between some of my other spells, and I can remember when I sat there and I was writing, I kind of journal my spells often, and when I was writing, it was that sense of I'm reinforcing my boundary of light, and I was thinking, I want the flow, I want the rhyme. I'm reinforcing my boundary of light. This is my sacred right. And boom, it just come together. So it's all about intention. It's all about kind of will. It's about doing it slowly and doing it meaningfully. And if it kind of, you stumble, just kind of stop, anchor, pause, reset and start over. There's no completely right way, there's no completely wrong way. All I would say is there is the way, but allow it to come from within you, allow it to come and filter through your heart. And I think that the other thing that I want to add to this is, don't rush to perform magic, don't rush to perform a spell, kind of sit with it for a while. Quite often it can happen really fast, but you'll feel it move through you. And that's the thing, there needs to be a sense of in partnership, and you harnessing the energy of the whole, of that whole big cosmic force out there, that you want to be in partnership with that. It wants to be sanctioned and agreed by that, that you've got that kind of sanctioning, which is the filtration of the heart, and you then won't go far wrong. You really won't go far wrong. And that's a bit like, the door cleanse for me traditionally would have been done on Hallowed Eve. Yeah, I got a nudge to perform it a couple of months ago. There was a change around me. There was things I was feeling. There was things that were kind of being shown to me that now was the time. And I performed it. I executed it with a lot of kind of strength, with a lot of heart, and it absolutely made complete sense. Some of what I was feeling then got shown to me in the tangible world, in the real world. That showed up for me, and I got my validation and I got my confirmation, and I knew it was right. So will I need to perform it on Hallowed Eve? No, I might gently reinforce it, but I won't have to enforce it. And I love the wording within there, blow out the old, you've got that sense of that's what's happening within nature, especially here in the UK, and for you guys across the pond there in the States, is, you've got fall, autumn, and you kind of got the wind just kind of taking all the old leaves and the dead wood, blow out the old, blow in the new, blow out the false. That come to me several years ago, within a dream of being shown really sometimes what is going on within the world of social media. Blow out the false and blowing the true. And over the years of performing that, it's been amazing what shifted and moved. That's why I say to you, it's not something that's done willy-nilly. So I hope that gives you some insight, and thank you, Bridgitte, for the question. Thank you for being patient with me. You had asked me a couple of times, but I knew that it was something that I wanted to leave to this point in time, because Hallowed Eve is round the corner. If you'd like to do the door cleanse, you've got the understanding now of how to do it. I will link in, I will link in to a another video that explains it again, but I've kind of covered that in quite a lot of detail. The other thing about Old Hallowed Eve, before we touch the other question, is some of you that follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I was talking about the recipe that I was recently gifted by an old gent that gifted me a recipe for spiced pumpkin ale. Okay, spiced pumpkin ale. Hold that thought, okay? I'm gonna get a bottle of the Mugwort beer to show you how lively it is. Just hold that thought. So I never thought about that until I sat down now. But yeah, this old timer, he had, lovely gentleman, real character, had shared with me a recipe for spiced pumpkin ale, and we grew the large pumpkin that I showed you guys previously. Let me get it to remind you. And this pumpkin is so huge. It is huge. It's absolutely huge. It's such a gift. So this one is going to be made into soup and pumpkin, sweet pumpkin pie for our soul supper. Okay, for a soul supper. That all being well, with what's going on in our world right now, that we will be able to share that with some of our community for our soul supper. And then the other one that we harvested only a few days ago, a lot smaller, but this one's going to be used for the spice pumpkin ale. This old timer had gifted me the recipe for a pumpkin beer. I'm really excited about this one. And there she is. She's lovely. Still, fair size, will absolutely make some wonderful spiced pumpkin beer out of that one. But here's the Mugwort beer, which is going to be ready for Samhain. The pumpkin one will be then ready at Yule. Okay, so hopefully you'll hear this. Okay, that's how lively. That's how lively. What it was, I burped it. So I just let some of the gases come out. And this is going to be ready All Hallowed Eve. That shows you how lively it is, and I've kind of been burping some of the really lively ones every kind of evening. It's just letting some of the gas carbonation out of that. So it shows me, I can hear it sizzling. It shows me how lively, how great these are going to be. I'm going to taste test one tonight actually, over supper. We're going to taste test one over supper this evening, so I'm really looking forward to that. And it is Mugwort. Okay, so again, a medicinal beer, and the qualities of Mugwort you can kind of check out, but it's kind of very dreamy. It's used in tea quite often. It aids dreams, so it's really brilliant, I feel, for this time of the year when we're kind of going inward and we're reflecting, a time of more sleep and a time of restoration, a time of inner journeys and reflection. It just kind of suits that transition into autumn, into winter, and to be kind of used at Samhain, Old Hallowed Eve and Halloween is just going to be absolutely perfect. So I'll let you know how that tastes, probably on my Instagram in the coming days, and I will share with you how this pumpkin ale starts to kind of shape up as well. The other question that I got asked is about spirit guides. So I'm just going to go and get my other portrait as well. I should have thought about all these things, but it's okay. The other portrait of my spirit guide. So again, she really comes into her own this time of year. Originally, the original portrait was done around about 8 years ago, and it is in a very, very simple form. And she kind of showed herself with a green cloak and a green hood, with this striking red hair and these kind of green eyes. And when she started to show herself around me, I got a sense of an energy there, and I remember kind of feeling that it was something different to what I was used to being around me, and I kind of gently listened, and that's some of the keys, is listening to the subtlety. I quite often say that all information's information, and I will put a link into my blog that shares a lot of resources and videos for those of you that would like to nurture contact with spirit guides. And I could feel her energy, and I felt it was very different, and I just kind of gently said, you know, who are you and what are you about? And within microseconds I heard, Shane, who are you and what are you about? Incredible answer. And I knew, because it was so fast, that it wasn't coming from me. You know, there was the discernment in there, and I spent the next couple of years really exploring that question. And then I had an incredible experience with a client who absolutely, on her mum's bloodline, there is a line of witches. And you'll see why when I turn this over. There was a line of witches, and I had this experience where there was an exchange between me and her, and you know when you've been marked by a witch. You know, I've done a video on that as well. You can find it. If I find it, I will put in a link for you as well. I will make sure there's a link in there. So it was incredible. And then just after that, and the Yule that followed, the Samhain, because it happened around Samhain, I was gifted this incredible portrait by an amazing psychic artist within the family. And I will put a link to her work so you can go and explore it. And she done this beautiful spirit guide portrait. You know, and this is a story that has been unfolding over 9 years of her showing herself to me. And then not long after she showed herself to me, all the kind of understanding of foraging, of woodsmanship, of working within the land really took hold. And then that kind of led me to the other guide that some of you may have seen on Instagram, known as Eden. This is Morgana, or shows herself to me as Morgana, and I've had some dreams about understanding who she is. You know, it's a very rich, deep, personal journey that they take you on. But this is absolutely stunning and beautiful. But as I say, I'll put some links in there for you to the door cleanse, to the blog about connecting with spirit, how you can kind of connect to spirit. There's a whole range of videos in there. Also, Mark of the Witch, I will put a link into that video for you as well. It just all feels very relevant at this time as we move towards All Hallowed Eve and all those questions pop up. And hopefully this will take you on a journey. So enjoy those links. Here's Morgana. This evening I will be starting the journey of crafting this beautiful squash pumpkin into the beer and ale. And the next time I will see you will just be just after All Hallowed Eve. As I say, all being well, a small number of us within our community are going to hold a soul supper, and hopefully I'll get some of the video insight of that for you to share with you, and kind of weave it together in a short video, and then I'll be sharing that with you guys just after All Hallowed Eve. And I really look forward to seeing you really soon. Hope that has stirred up some inspiration and answered some questions, and I'll be seeing you all very soon. And importantly, especially at this time, keep trusting your instincts, keep trusting what you feel, trust that moral compass that you have, and your values and what you hold dear in this world and what you hold dear within your life, and above all else, keep shining.